May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and sometimes the best way to help you cope can be through movement.
Now, expressive movement can be a core part of strong mental health. And of course, that's what we're going to be talking about here today. Joining us now to talk about how that works is psychologist Dr. Sherry Walling and circus performer Lynn Lunny. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having us. We're glad to be here.
Absolutely. And you've written something here to kind of share a little bit about your journey. Let's start with that part of your story.
Yeah. So I'm a professional psychologist, but I'm also someone who has experienced a significant level of grief. So 4 years ago, this week actually, I lost my brother to suicide. And so my process of sort of finding my way through grief, I wrote about in this book, Touching Two Worlds. And surprisingly, circus arts has been a big part of my own mental health and my recovery from the significance of that pain. Lynn is here with me. She's one of my circus coaches, and we have a shared experience of both having lost brothers to suicide. So we've combined circus with our desire to help people work through grief.
What do you think it is about movement and performance and circus arts that can help you try and work through some of that grief?
I think that doing circus arts and any movement practice connects you to your body and allows you to move the emotions through your body and express it and share it. It creates a point of connection. When I perform a piece about my grief, it connects to the audience, and I find that the audience then people in the audience feel like they have permission to share their grief also. So sharing stories through circus arts is any form of art can be a very connecting experience. Also the practice of it, the practice of moving, of using your body, of feeling strong in your body in a moment when you maybe don't feel emotionally strong can be an incredible feeling. And can be a point of meditation, to be present in the moment, to let go of what's going on around you and kind of bring your feet back to the ground, which sounds kind of opposite of circus, but does that emotionally.
Did you have to get to a place in your grief process where you felt like, okay, I can incorporate these other pieces in, like being able to write about it, being able to bring movement in? I mean, how did you know that you were in the place in your grief journey where you could bring these parts in too?
I think at the beginning, going to the aerial studio was just me getting out of bed. It was just a reason to have something to do that took me away from the intensity of my heartache and was sort of like, this is just a thing. I'm gonna spin, I'm gonna do pull-ups, I'm gonna do these things. And I think over a period of months, it felt more integrated. It felt like I'm making sense of this now. Like my head and my heart and my body are feeling more connected. It certainly wasn't like that at the beginning, but over time it gradually became more integrated.
If someone's watching this right now and perhaps on their own grief journey and saying, well, maybe this is something that I'd like to try, how do you recommend they start out?
Well, I own a studio in Northeast Minneapolis with my partner, Kristen Shaw, and it's called Stomping Studio. And we are hosting, we host workshops with Sherry called Circus for the Brokenhearted, where we can come and we kind of speak to this a lot, and you have to have no circus experience. You can come, it's very accessible to any level, all bodies, we have all apparatuses. You can also just take a class too. If you just want to come and try out circus, we have many beginner classes also. And you can join handstands, you can join aerial, partner acro, flexibility, lots of options. The Circus for the Brokenhearted workshop is June 4th at 6:30 p.m. It's a Sunday evening, and Sherry and I co-host that. And Sherry talks more to the psychologist side. She's a trained professional, so she talks to that, and then I work on the aerial side of it.
What do you hope people take away from being a part of the class?
I hope that they feel a sense of what's possible for them. Circus is a hard thing, right? You're not going to be awesome on the first day, but I think there's usually a moment of like, oh, I did something I didn't think I could do. And that creates a new relationship between someone and their body. And so there's a tiny little drop of hope, I think, that people experience when they have a glimpse of doing something really hard or something impossible and finding joy in the midst of it. So we're in the business of finding joy in hard things, and circus is a really great outlet for that.
So really finding the courage to show up and just to start, and really celebrating, hey, like I tried something. It took courage to be in the space and be in this moment and do this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Wonderful.
Yeah. So, Lynn, I think you have some moves to show us here.
Yes, I do.
Yes.
I'll come over here out of your way. I don't want to get kicked on
No,
television.
that would be. Well, Sheila and I will get out of the way too. And Sherry, why she's doing this? Explain to us what she's doing and sort of in what ways this is helping, because it's very strong.
Yeah, so Lynn is doing hand balancing. Sometimes we call it handstands, but she is really working in a very collaborative relationship with her body, right? There's tiny adjustments that are happening in her balancing. She's very strong, but it's also very subtle and, of course, I think very beautiful. And it requires a level of patience, I think self-compassion, to create this very strong but beautiful movement arts.
Wow. I mean,
That's incredible.
it really is when you know, I hope it translates on the screen, because when you see it here up close and, you know, see those little movements, that little shaking, you know just how hard she is working there. Yeah. Well, Lynn, Sherry, thank you both so much for taking the time to come chat with us today and demonstrate as well, right?
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah.